That's what I'm talking about.
Wait! Okay, now, from the beginning.
Stay tuned. Hey, smart homers, John Stone, the DIY smart home guy. With smart home products getting smarter and our automation imagination getting bigger, it's natural for us to wish that we could get a finer level of control from our smart switches. I've been promising for a while now that I would make a video that describes how to use a smart switch to control scenes and smart light bulbs. Well, here it is. The most common request is, hey John, how do I use a smart switch to control Zigbee lights? There's a few reasons behind this request. One of those being that sometimes Zigbee lights need to be reset by cycling the power, and another is that you don't want to lose power to your Zigbee lights and other smart home devices when you're trying to control them through automations and voice control. In this video, I'm going to discuss how to set up your switch and your hub. I'll be providing 3 use cases that should help you imagine your next automation coolness. So let's get into it.
This video is not a paid endorsement, and I receive no compensation for making this video. All product links in the description below are affiliate links, and I may receive commissions if you purchase products from these links. Some products shown in the video were provided to me for free from the manufacturer. However, the video should not be considered an endorsement for any of these products.
In case number 1, I installed 6 Sylvania Lightify Smart Plus RGBW Zigbee lights in my kitchen. There's a link in the description. I'm controlling those lights with the Zooz Zen 27 Z-Wave Plus switch and a few other home automation rules. And in case number 2, I'm using an Inovelli Red Series on-off Z-Wave Plus in-wall switch to control yet another Osram Sylvania Smart Plus recessed light in my entry hall. This light serves as a normal hall light as well as a garage door open indication. And you may recognize that switch from the pre-release review I did about a week ago. And in case number 3, I have a ring floodlight cam for my driveway, which gets its power from my front porch light switch. And I needed a way to ensure that power was always provided to the ring device, but still have control over the porch lights. Now, I didn't test this with any Zigbee switches, but in theory, at least one of the options that I'm about to describe should work. Wiring option 1 uses any Z-Wave switch that has the capability that allows you to disable manual control. Now, how do you know if you can disable manual control? Well, in Hubitat, you can look at the device details page. If you see an option under preferences called manual control enabled, this means that you can disable manual control on that switch. And if you're using SmartThings, click the gear icon and look for a parameter called Local Control. If you're using the Zooz Zen 26 or Zen 27, you're going to want to make sure that you have the switch that is at firmware release 2.0 or later, since that is where this feature gets activated. The newer Zooz S2 switches are shipping with firmware 2.0, and they won't need the update. There's a link to a video that describes how to perform a firmware OTA update, just in case you need some help. It's a relatively painless process, so don't be afraid. I mean, you got this. I got faith in you. All of the new Inovellis come this way from the factory, so you should be good if it's recently purchased. It's still a good idea to be familiar with the OTA update process. On the hub side, you may need custom device handlers for both Zooz and Inovelli, or whatever other switch you may choose. This may be the case for both SmartThings and the Hubitat Elevation. Down below, you're going to find videos that describe how to install custom device handlers for each of these switches on both platforms. If you need help, I suggest that you start there and then return to this video. And now that you know what kind of switch you need, how to install and update the firmware if needed, and how to install the custom device handlers, you can skip ahead to that part of the video that describes the solution for each one of my 3 earlier mentioned situations, which should be here. If you can't use these options, say your switch doesn't support disabling manual control and you still want to work around, this is option 2, which we're going to discuss right now. Option 2 requires you to bypass the switch altogether and only use it as a control mechanism. Please be warned, you will need to check your state and local building codes to make sure that this method is allowed. What you are about to do is provide unswitched power to your lights and devices, which may not be allowed in your area. If it's not, you are going to need to suck it up and go with option 1. In this option, place both the line and load wire in the line side of the smart switch. Then you can use the button press events from the switch to the hub to create your automation routines. Another note, this usually works best with Z-Wave Plus devices. Some older Z-Wave switches don't always do a good job of reporting their state back to the hub. Again, I cannot stress enough, you are going to want to check your local building codes if you go this route. The only way to kill power to the light is from the circuit breaker. The air gap on the smart switch will be no help. And now the moment we've all been waiting for. Here are the final solutions that I came up with for each of my scenarios. These should give you some great automation ideas. For these solutions, I am going to show you how to do this in Hubitat. You SmartThings users have several capabilities through the Classic app or tools like WebCore. You know how to use them. Get rolling that way. At the top of the video, I mentioned those Sylvania Smart Plus RGBW recessed lights in my kitchen. These are Zigbee lights that I reviewed a few weeks back. I'm controlling these lights with the Zoo Zen 27 dimmer switch. I've wired it using option 1, and I have manual control disabled, and I leave the switch turned on at all times. And inside the Hubitat Elevation, here is the automation I have coded in the rule machine. First, I created a Boolean global variable called kitchen full bright. I'll use this again in a little bit. And the second thing that I did was create 2 light groups called kitchen primary lights and kitchen secondary lights. 3 lights in each group, primary lights being those that I want always to turn on, secondary lights being those that I want to be on only sometimes. Next, I created 5 rules that get triggered from the button press events on the Zoo Zen 27. The first is the normal on, which is the single tap up. It's important that you use the button press event and not the on-off events, since we want to leave the switch on at all times. And here's that code. If it's nighttime or between sunset and sunrise, I have one set of logic that evaluates the current brightness state of the lights using that global variable that we just defined. If the lights are on in the bright mode, the logic says to turn off the secondary lights and then dim the primary lights. If they are already dim and you push the on button, it'll reverse and turn on all lights to 70%. Continuing to single press up on the switch will toggle the lights between that dim and bright mode. During the daytime, it follows the exact basic logic, same basic logic, only setting the lights to brighter levels. The second rule is for turning the lights off. This rule looks at the bottom press event or the normal off button. Remember, I'm not turning the switch itself off, only the associated Zigbee lights. So when that button is pressed, it turns off the entire kitchen group and it resets that global variable to kitchen full bright equals true. This makes sure that when the lights are turned back on, they come on in dim mode. A single tap up runs the first rule, which allows the toggling to start itself all over again. And the third rule is this: a robot must protect its own existence as long as... Wait, no, sorry. Wrong rule. The third rule executes when you double tap up on the switch, and similar to the first on rule, only turns on lights to the blue color. I don't use the kitchen full bright Boolean, but I could if I wanted to. The fourth rule is basically the same as the third rule, only it is the double tap down and it makes the lights purple. Hey, calm down. My wife and my daughter like the color purple. Give them a break. Now, the second scenario is one of my favorite. It's a garage door warning indication. Here's that scenario. When my garage door is open, the entry light turns on red. When the door closes, it turns back off. Now, the reason we picked this particular light is because it's visible from both the living room and the kitchen, so it's a nice central light in our house that provides us a very important indication. If the red indication is on and we want normal light, pressing the up button once turns the light on to a normal white color, and turning off the light either turns it off or it turns it back to the red color, depending on the state of the garage door. In this particular case, the switch I'm using is that new Inovelli Red Series Z-Wave Plus on-off in-wall switch, and just like the Zoo switch, I have disabled the manual relay, internal relay. You got it, you know what I mean. And here are a few unique conditions that I have also set up into the switch. These are cool, you're going to want to check these out. Number 1, if the door is open, which means that the light is already on and red, you tap up once on the switch and the light turns on to the white color, which I already said. I'm using the notification feature on the Inovelli Red Series switch to flash that LED red. This provides me with an indication that the garage door is still open, even if I have the light onto the normal white color. And numero dos, if you tap the switch down and the garage is still open, it returns the light to the red setting and then cancels the notification on the switch. If the garage is closed, it just turns off the light. Und drei, if you want to override the red light, I can triple tap down, which turns the red light off, but turns the switch notification back into that blinking red light. And number 4, if I want to close the garage, I simply press the configure/favorites button. It sends a command to my garage door to close. When the door closes, it triggers a rule that controls lights and locks. Everything turns off, so there's really nothing more to see here. And we are on to the third and final scenario. This is used to control my front porch lights. My porch lights and my ring floodlight cam are all powered by the same light switch. So to prevent the camera from being shut off, I'm using this Zoo Zen 26 Z-Wave Plus on-off switch, again with the internal relay disabled, and the switch is set to on the entire time. The porch light and my walkway light are Zigbee lights, and they are controlled by this Zoo's ZSE29 outdoor motion sensor, video below, and also by my Schley Connect Z-Wave smart door lock. And for these, there are rules that allow motion or unlocking to turn on the lights and lack of motion or locking the door to control turning off the lights. There's other logic there to make sure that it all seems natural. Switch control works like this. Tapping up once on the wall switch will manually turn on the lights, and tapping once down will manually turn off the lights. Now, this particular brand of Zigbee lights tend to get locked up every now and again, either in the on or off state, so I need to cycle power now and again just to get them back working. For this, I use the double tap down. That kills the power to the circuit. I have another rule that automatically turns power back on after 60 seconds, which makes sure that the circuit gets powered just in case I forget to turn it back on. Like, that never happens. And that's pretty much it. I hope I gave you enough information to control your own scenes and special circumstances. If you have other ideas for controlling lights with a smart switch, let me know in the comments below. I know I covered stuff really fast, but there was a lot of information and I was trying to keep it interesting. Maybe I'm just too much of a spaz. Sorry. Don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to click like. Over here, there's a couple of videos that the internet gods think that you really need to watch. Maybe it's because I told them. Until next time, cheers.